What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at the all new 2025 Toyota Camry. This one's an XSE, finished off in heavy metal. MSRP is $42,800 on this specific spec. Big shout out to Flo Toyota of Statesville for providing this car for today's video. Take a look at their website, linked down below. Underneath the hood of the all new 2025 Toyota Camry, you're going to find the 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder hybrid motor. With front-wheel drive, net horsepower is 225. This also features the eCVT transmission. Curb weight is 3,600 pounds, and it runs on a 13-gallon fuel tank, and you can expect 48 miles per gallon in the city with 47 out on the highway. The overall length is 193.5 inches with a wheelbase at 111.2. Width is 72.4, and height is 56.9 inches. And then now moving on to the exterior styling with the all-new 2025 Toyota Camry. I love this new look. It definitely looks a lot more up-to-date and modern. You got a very nice set of LED headlights. You can also see the LED daytime running light throughout the center. The body color even cuts towards the headlights themselves, and you can see that Toyota badge right up in front. You have a little bit of a functional open up above, and then this massive body-colored front grille that looks super cool. You got a nice design for all of the mesh. And you can see just how aggressive the front end is. Got these body colored splitter pieces sticking outwards along with more daytime running lights, gloss black trim for these intake ducts, and overall it really comes together with a modern aggressive appearance. I like the sharp body lines you can see from the bumper into the hood, and overall I don't think you can complain. It's a super sharp looking daily driver. At the side profile we have an upgraded set of 19-inch wheels finished in a very cool multi-spoke design. I love the color combination as well. Got a sharp body line surrounding this front fender arch, and then a sharp line throughout the side profile cutting through the door handles. Got an aggressive side skirt, body colored mirror cap with a little bit of chrome trim, and then black trim surrounding all of the windows. Up on top, this also features a full panoramic sunroof with a black shark fin antenna, and then at the side profile has a very nice normal design, just like the previous generation Camrys. Good proportions all around. You can really see those sharp body lines, and I like how the rear ones cut over this fender arch right into the LED taillights. Got a nice design for the taillights. You can also see the gloss black trim piece surrounding the center portion with Camry written out in black. Toyota badge along with a gloss black spoiler mounted up above. Got some nice sharp body lines throughout the rear end that matches the front very well. A little bit of body color for this massive diffuser just to add some aggression. Dual exhaust tip on the far left side, and overall really comes together to give the Camry a much more sporty design. Moving on to the key fob, we get lock, unlock, trunk release, and then it says Camry on the back side. You go ahead and lock the car, keep the key fob in your pocket, you can just grab the door handle, it'll automatically unlock, and we can take a look at the interior. Now this XSE does give you genuine leather for the seating surfaces along with the steering wheel and shifter. This also has the premium package, so you're going to find the ventilated front seats, 9-speaker JBL audio system, and then of course we have that 12.3-inch display. Onto the door panel you have the soft touch plastic, then the nice leather material throughout the center with a perforated design. I like the silver trim integrated into the grab handle, and then you can see all of your controls for windows, lock and unlock, and mirrors. We have a padded armrest with a good sized grab handle here, and then a large storage cubby. You also have all of your power controls on the bottom of the seat here, and I love the genuine leather. It looks really cool, especially with the perforations throughout the center. Has a cool pattern to it as well, smooth leather on the sides, and then you can see coming at the backrest, all the perforations and the cool design throughout. Got a 3-spoke steering wheel as well, with some gloss black trim and just blacked out stitching. And then now sitting in the 2025 Camry XSE, keeping my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. Now being a hybrid, the engine isn't necessarily going to turn on. However, we can take a look at the 12.3-inch display for the gauge cluster. You can easily toggle left and right, and you're going to see a few different designs come up for this digital screen. It's very simple. You can hit OK in the center and see all sorts of different information that's going to come up. If we take a look at the steering wheel now, over on the left side we have some Bluetooth and audio controls. We also have all of the cruise control settings to the right, and then there's even a set of paddle shifters, even though this is a continuous variable transmission, but it's nice to have that control over the transmission. You can see the stalk on the right for windshield wipers, stalk on the left side for all the turn signals, and then over on the left we have the trunk release, fuel cap, along with automatic high beams, interior dimming, and traction control. Got some nice leather on the dash, and then a soft touch material along the dashboard itself that has a good look and feel. The passenger air vent has a really cool design, all integrated into these slots, and it flows nicely into the massive center screen. I like how continuous that looks, and you can also see more of this leather throughout the lower portion integrated into the center console. The center infotainment screen is basically what you would expect on any modern Toyota. Looks very simple, easy to use. You have phone integration, obviously audio. You can also control a few things like climate controls, they will pop up, a few options. We can also go into comfort. You're going to see the heated steering wheel, trip information as well, and then you can go into any vehicle alerts, if any. For settings, you're going to see a few things popping up, as you'd expect. And then going into reverse, we have a pretty good sized backup camera. Wouldn't mind it being a little bit bigger, and then you can see it changed just a little bit. Now there are physical climate controls all down below. You can easily toggle your temperature and fan speed. You have heated steering wheel as well, heated and ventilated seats, air conditioning icon, air vents, and then down below we have a few plugs, wireless phone charging, and then quite a lot of storage all throughout the center. Now we have the leather shift boot around the shifter, different drive modes as well. You have Eco, Normal, and Sport. It'll also give you a pretty cool depiction in that center gauge cluster. We also have an EV drive mode for slower speeds, and then some nice padding on this armrest. Opening that up, got a pretty good amount of storage in here, and then you can open up the glove box and you have a pretty good amount of space in here as well. Overall, it's a really cool looking interior, especially for the price point. I think Toyota did a good job updating it, and I love the use of genuine leather. You also have that massive panoramic sunroof shade. Very nice to see that. We have dome lights up above, all the controls, and then a very thin mirror with 3 garage door buttons. Moving on to the rear seat space, if I grab the door handle and open it up, on the door panel, you get a little bit more plastic on the top, that same trim piece, and then the nice leather material throughout the insert and padded for the armrest. You have your window control, a little bit of storage, and then all the same seating surfaces back here with the perforated leather throughout the center, contrasting the smooth leather. This can seat 3 people very nicely, and in the middle, if we pull this down, you got a nice armrest along with 2 cup holders. There's also 2 air vents back here, plugs down below, and then storage on the back side of these front seats. And then now sitting in the back seat at 5'11", I'm sitting here pretty good. I have about an inch of headroom, and with the driver's seat at my height, I have a really good amount of knee room and foot room. There's no adjustments to the seat, but the recline, the bases as well, are pretty comfortable. So honestly, you could sit back here for quite a long time. Armrest is in a good place, and there's quite a lot of glass. Of course, opening that sunroof, that really helps a lot. But for the back seat, for a midsize, this is definitely a pretty comfortable place to be. Moving on to the trunk space, there is a button on the key fob, but there's also going to be one underneath the Y. You can just press that and manually lift that open. You have about 15 cubic feet of cargo space in the back of the new Camry, a nice cutout on the left side along with the right side, and then there's these manual pulls. You can just pop these to get the seats down. And with them down, you can see just how much more cargo space you're going to get utilizing the cabin space as well. The seats fold down nice and flat, still giving you room up in front, and you have a pretty large opening into the trunk to make the Camry very practical for not only people, but cargo as well. So setting off now in the Camry. So in sport mode, just given a little bit of throttle, you can really feel the hybrid system, the electronics, pull the car. So acceleration is pretty good. There's that instant throttle response and instant torque from the electric motors, and then the engine itself carries its weight very well. Given this is a larger 4-cylinder, the engine itself actually has a good amount of beef to it, to where this car's never really stressing to accelerate. You know, if you go way too small on the engine, you're just going to be stressing the engine, burning more gas. So I think Toyota did a really good job giving you the perfect blend of power and efficiency, and to get about 50 mpg, I mean, that is pretty incredible, and it's not even a sluggish car. When you are driving in this, it's a really comfortable seating position. The seats are very padded, tons of adjustments to where you can just sit here for hours and hours. It's a pretty quiet cabin too. It seems pretty refined, especially for not being, you know, a Lexus or a luxury brand. So I feel like they've done a good job just making this feel like a more upscale car without really breaking the bank. Obviously this one, you know, coming in close to 42 grand is on the higher price point. However, you know, you can get these for low 30s all day long, and it's pretty much the same car. So I like to see how Toyota does have a pretty good spectrum of the Camry to where you can really mix and match and get one that fits your budget. And it is impressive with like sport mode, especially when you kind of accelerate, you will feel just a little bit of torque steer, which is kind of funny to see. However, if you go with all-wheel drive, you're not really going to feel that. But I think, the front-wheel drive is definitely a more common one in our area. From what the dealer said, maybe 1 in 100 is going to be all-wheel drive in our area. So most people, they're going to option for front-wheel drive, of course, the best efficiency, and I mean, it drives plenty good. Along with that, the use of materials is pretty good. Everything you touch and feel looks nice, it feels nice. I think the screen is laid out very well. It's integrated nicely into the dash rather than just being the stuck-on tablet. And the fact that you have genuine leather on the door panels and everything, it really does make this car feel upscale. So I think they've done a good job making the Camry feel like a really nice car without really breaking the bank, honestly. And the overall driving characteristics, you don't really feel the engine electronics kick on. It's just a very seamless power delivery, whether or not you're in EV mode, eco mode, or sport mode. It just feels like a really smooth car. You got good acceleration, even good feedback from the steering wheel. This does have a sport tuned suspension according to the window sticker. I mean, it's still very forgiving. It seems super smooth to drive. Good visibility as well, looking over your right and left shoulders. The rear headrests are a little on the bulky side, so when you look over your right shoulder, they're a little in the way. However, the mirrors all do a great job to let you know what is going on around you. All right, so setting off in the Camry. So I'm in EV mode right now in the parking lot, and we're in pure electric. Now, this doesn't have an actual electric range. It's not a plug-in hybrid that is meant to do that. EV mode is for parking lots, things like that. If I give it a little bit too much acceleration, right there, the engine kicked on. So this isn't a car that has that, 11 miles of range like some plug-in hybrids or some normal hybrids that do have that. So the EV mode basically in this car is that extra assistance for driving. You get that extra torque accelerating, which is really nice. And then, maybe you're just pulling the car out of your garage just to move it to the street or something. You don't always have to turn on the engine. So I like that aspect with a normal hybrid. The car itself is continually charging itself. So it's basically a self-contained unit to give you the power and give you the efficiency. So I like how Toyota has done that. If you want a more electric version of this, the Prius or the Prime, of course, are going to have more of that electric aspects. So I think the Camry now is kind of that perfect sweet spot of a daily driver. If you think about what you're doing with a commuter car, you're racking up miles and miles. So the better efficiency, the better off you are. And to get almost 50, it makes this a pretty attractive car to where it's nice to drive, it's got some power, and yet it's plenty efficient to where you're gonna go so much on a little gas tank, which is nice to see. On top of that, I really do like the interior a lot. I've seen some mixed reviews with the comments. This is the 4th Camry I've filmed now, the 2nd XSE. I love the cheese grater looking grille. I think it looks super cool on this car. Of course, other trim levels have a black grille, so you don't have to get an XSE. I think it looks really cool, even in the silver. I think it just looks really neat having all that body color, and there's enough contrast with the kind of mesh design throughout it where it looks sweet. Interior, the fact that there's real leather in this car, I think is a huge plus. Even luxury brand cars, you can't get real leather unless you spec it even higher, and you're talking maybe 60 to 70 grand on some of those cars that still have fake leather. So the fact that Camry's giving you that, honestly, for mid-30s, you can get an XSE without these wheels. That is a lot. I think that's saying quite a lot. Features, this car has plenty of features with the roof, the full nav system, the screens, vented seats, all that stuff, all the safety things you could ask for. So I feel like Camry is now really packed and it's a lot more modern. I think the old generation, while people loved the old V6, of course, they love what it used to have. This new one I think is just bringing it to a modern world where you're not sacrificing anything. Toyota's been doing hybrids for over 20 years and they've been doing it very well. So I don't think we're going to have any reliability concerns or anything like that from this hybrid. I don't think this will be an engine that you can't hit 200 to 300,000 miles with without really skipping a beat. Might not be able to work on it quite as much yourself like you can on the old school V6, but I think overall it gives you quite a lot to offer. Giving it some power, this is actually a nice car to drive. So I think if you're looking for a daily commuter car, but you want something that isn't just a crappy little tiny economy car, I think the Camry is the way to go, to where you don't have to spend a lot to get one of these, and you can get a very nicely equipped one in the low 30s, or an even nicer equipped one for the low 40s, which is all still way under the average price of a new car in today's market. So I feel like Toyota's done a good job pricing the Camry to make it affordable, and they're giving you a car that is actually very nice on the inside and the outside. It's got the modern stuff, the style, the technology, and the fit and finish is really good for the money. And when you drive it, it's a solid feeling car that is a pleasant place to be for hours and hours. But that is it for the all-new 2025 Toyota Camry. This XSE with these wheels looks sweet. I really like the wheel option, and of course the premium package giving you all that fun stuff. Cool car. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content, and then big shout out to Flo Toyota of Statesville for providing this Camry hybrid for today's video. Take a look at their website, links below, and I'll see you all in the next video.